The Asymmetric Warfare Initiative exercise AWI04 North was conducted 5 through 7 October 2004 in the Puget Sound and the ports of Seattle and Tacoma in Washington State. AWI04 North is the third exercise in a series sponsored by the Technical Support Working Group. The Center for Asymmetric Warfare at Point Mugu, California, planned and executed these events that have focused on aspects of maritime terrorism with common focus on the need for federal, state, and local interoperability in the early chaos of a terrorist event. These exercises provide an integrated instrumented asymmetric warfare environment that blends real, virtual, constructive, and distributed participants in scenario-based testing, training, and experimentation. They are intended to produce quantitative data, metrics, and analysis to assist decision-makers in evaluating alternatives related to investing in proven, cost-effective solutions, which translate into new and innovative concepts for fielded capabilities. AWI03 was conducted in November of 2003 in the port of Hueneme, Ventura County, California, and centered on a terrorist attack employing a shipborne radiological dispersion device, a multi-pronged small boat attack against the Navy combatant, and small unit attacks in the co-use civil military port complex. AWI04 South occurred in August of 2004 as part of U.S. Northcom's nationwide exercise Determined Promise 04 and centered on the use of container shipments by terrorists through the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach. The terrorist intent was to insert radiological dispersion devices, referred to as RDDs or dirty bombs, and small arms for embedded sleeper cell use at multiple U.S. sites, including the Puget Sound area. The primary goal of AWI04 North was to generate interaction among local, state, federal, and military agencies in response to multiple near-simultaneous events. This included sequential explosions and heavy casualties in and around Puget Sound maritime approaches and ports. The exercise provided an environment for individual agencies to internally assess their tactical, management, and investigation capabilities when responding to a series of coordinated terrorist events. It included live play events for Coast Guard District 13 and Immigrations and Custom Enforcement boarding parties, and in the Port of Tacoma for port security personnel, for Tacoma Police SWAT and emergency responders, and for FBI SWAT. Execution of the exercise also included computer simulation at the command post, that included the use of the Army's JCATS and brigade battalion simulation capabilities at Fort Lewis, Washington. The final exercise vignette on the last day, involving the transition to consequence management phase, was conducted as a tabletop event. This included limited DoD involvement of standing up the Defense Coordination Element and the Federal Coordination Center to provide military support to civil authorities, as well as state and local agencies, transitioning into their consequence management phase of operations. The set of participants' objectives were addressed through 5 interrelated scenario vignettes. 1. A non-compliant ship entering Puget Sound. 2. Required action in the Port of Tacoma to an emerging terrorist threat. 3. Response in relation to a high-occupancy vessel mass casualty occurrence. 4. Washington State Department of Transportation response requirements to multiple terrorist activity in the Puget Sound area. 5. Transition to consequence management and recovery. The intelligence background for the exercise was a continuation of the events portrayed in Exercise AWI04 South, executed in August at and around the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach. Events were controlled from the Battle Command Training Center at Fort Lewis, with CAW personnel providing active control at the various command centers and sites. During the first day, October 5th, the observer controllers familiarized the various agencies with the simulations portion of the exercise. This was accomplished by using a simulated explosion event in the Burlington Northern Santa Fe rail yard. The need for response by the Tacoma Fire Department justified different agencies standing up their emergency operations centers. The response phase of the exercise also began with the Coast Guard and Immigrations and Custom Enforcement boarding of a vessel eventually determined to be terrorist-related and tied to the August events in Los Angeles. The evidence collected led to the stand-up of an investigative element of the Seattle FBI-led Joint Terrorism Task Force. Information flow, which was a critical aspect of AWI04 North to all exercise agencies on a potential act of terrorism, stemmed from these JTTF operations and drove all of the further responses to terrorist actions. The Coast Guard event had both live and command post elements, including a live boarding of a non-compliant rogue ship working with FBI, CBP, and ICE, setting up their various operation centers and simulated execution of their maritime rescue operations plan in reaction to the high-occupancy passenger vessel explosion in Elliott Bay. They executed MARSEC level shifts and associated command and control and resource allocation requirements in response to the numerous incidents and intelligence generated throughout the exercise. Port of Tacoma conducted a command post exercise with 4 related actions. They stood up the Port Emergency Operations Center and interfaced with first responders, including the Tacoma Police Department SWAT, the FBI Tactical Operations Center, the Tacoma Fire Department, and the City of Tacoma EOC. They evacuated the Port Administration Building and shut down a portion of the port under MARSEC Level 3. They also reacted to a night perimeter breach by live opposition forces. The Tacoma Fire Department activated the city EOC and provided support to the port, Tacoma Police, and fire operations.
She believes that they're related to the Long Beach container explosion that occurred in August, and she gave me the 2 container numbers.
The Tacoma PD established an incident command post, collocated their EOC with the City and Fire Department EOC, and successfully executed a SWAT operation against the live terrorist opposition force played by officers from the Everett, Washington Police Department.
Take them to the 2 sides while I'm going.
The police SWAT action led to a handoff to the FBI SWAT team, who successfully executed their own SWAT action against the terrorist players. This situation involved the possibility of the terrorist having a radiological dispersion device, often referred to as a dirty bomb, and requiring assistance from the FBI Hazardous Material Response Team and the National Guard's 10th Civil Support Team, with assistance by their Enhanced Response Force.